Okay, so today in this video, we're going to talk about a special right triangle. This particular right triangle is a 30, 60, 90 triangle because the angles, the degrees of the angles are 30 degrees, 60 degrees, and 90 degrees. And it's a triangle. So I don't know if you remember, but the lengths of the sides of the triangles have a relationship with their angles, meaning the sides across from the angles have a relationship. Because my 90-degree angle is my largest angle, this is my longest side. But we have a name for my longest side, so we don't call it longest. We're actually going to call this the hypotenuse. Now, because my angles have a measurement, this is my 30-degree angle and this is my 60-degree angle. These other sides we're going to call legs. But the side that's across from my 30-degree angle is my short leg. And the side that's across from my 60-degree angle is my long leg. Okay? So that's kind of important. So the position of the legs is very much in relation to the degrees. So across from my 60-degree angle is my long leg, across from my 30-degree angle is my short leg, and of course across from my 90-degree angle is always my hypotenuse. So where did this concept of a 30, 60, 90 triangle come from, and why is it so special? So we're going to start with an equilateral triangle. If you remember, with an equilateral triangle, all of my sides are congruent and all of my angles are congruent. So if all of my angles are congruent, and remember all of my angles add up to 180 degrees, each angle is a 60-degree angle. If I take a line and I drop it from the vertex to the base, it creates two identical right triangles, and it also bisects this vertex angle. If it bisects it, it cuts into two congruent parts, so each angle is a 30-degree angle. If each side of my triangle is 2 units, this line also bisects my base, cutting it into 2 congruent parts. So if I have 2, then each part of it's 1. So this created my 30, 60, 90 triangle. And I'm just going to focus on one part of my 30, 60, 90 triangle, one half of it. So I'm going to erase this other half of my equilateral. I'm trying to do it all nice and neat like. Okay. So I have a 30 degree, a 60 degree, and a 90 degree, but I don't have the length of my third side. How do I find the length of my third side? Well, this is a right triangle, so I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem. So if you remember, the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So a, we're going to say is 1, so 1 squared. I don't know this side. So we'll say b squared is equal to, and my hypotenuse is 2 squared. So 1 squared is 1 plus b squared is equal to 4. Subtract 1 from both sides, and b squared is equal to 3. So b is equal to the square root of 3. So this side is the square root of 3. So my short leg is 1, my long leg is the square root of 3, and my hypotenuse is 2. Okay, so that's what we're going to hold on to. So what if I have a 30, 60, 90 triangle, and I know that the base, or that the side across from my 30-degree angle is 5? How can I use that information to find my other sides here? Well, I'm going to relate that back to my generic triangle, to my short leg, my long leg, and my hypotenuse. So what am I going to do? What am I going to multiply to 1 to get the hypotenuse? What do I multiply here? to 1 to get 2. I'm going to multiply this side by 2. So I'm going to multiply 5 by 2. What is 5 times 2? 10. What do I multiply times 1 to get the square root of 3? I'm going to multiply the square root of 3. So 5 times the square root of 3 is just 5 square roots of 3. So the reality is, it doesn't matter what my short leg is. I'm going to multiply the short leg times 2 to get the hypotenuse, and I'm going to multiply the short leg times the square root of 3 to get my long leg. So when I don't know something, I'm going to put x. So if the short leg is x, it doesn't matter what it is. To get the long leg, I multiply that number by the square root of 3. To get my hypotenuse, I multiply x times 2. And this is going to be the pattern that we use to find the sides of my triangles each time. But each time we're going to relate it back to my short leg. The short leg is going to be the important side because that's my generic term. That's the special one. So each time when we're being given a 30, 60, 90 triangle, I want to identify where my 30-degree angle is so I can find my short leg. So I'm being given my short leg, and when I'm being given my short leg, everything else is easier. So this side is my long leg, and this is my hypotenuse, because this is my 60-degree angle, and of course this is my 90-degree angle because of the little box in it. So what do I do to go from my short leg to my hypotenuse? I'm going to multiply by 2. What do I do to go from my hypotenuse to my long leg? I'm going to multiply by the square root of 3. Because to go from 1 to 2, I multiply by 2. To go from 1 to the square root of 3, I multiply by the square root of 3. So 14 times 2 is 28. 14 times the square root of 3 is 14 square roots of 3. Now what if I'm not being given my short leg? And I want to know my short leg. So I want to know what the side is across from my 30-degree angle. In this case, I'm being given my hypotenuse. So if I had to multiply to get from my short leg to my hypotenuse, what do I have to do to get from my hypotenuse to my short leg? What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So I'm going to divide by 2. So 32 divided by 2 is 16. And now that I know the short leg, I can simply multiply to go from the short leg to the long leg. So 16 times the square root of 3 is just 16 square roots of 3. Okay, so for this equation, they're telling me that the hypotenuse is 46 and that this is my 60-degree angle right here. Well, if this is my 60-degree angle, then this one is my 30-degree angle. And remember, across from my 30-degree angle is my short leg. So what do I do to go from the hypotenuse to the short leg? I'm going to divide by 2. So 46 divided by 2 is 23. To go from my short leg to my long leg, I'm going to multiply by the square root of 3. So 23 times the square root of 3 is 23 square roots of 3. Okay, so in this case, I'm being given my long leg. So my long leg is the side across from my 60-degree angle, which in this case it's 20. And I always want to find my short leg. My short leg is this leg across from my 30-degree angle. I want to always reference back to my short leg. So if I had to multiply by the square root of 3 to get to my long leg, what do I need to do to go from my long leg to my short leg? I need to divide by the square root of 3. So I need to do 20 divided by the square root of 3. So 20 divided by the square root of 3. Now remember, when it comes to radicals in the denominator, the math god said we can't do that, so I have to rationalize the denominator. When I rationalize the denominator, I'm going to multiply it by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3. So 20 times the square root of 3 is just this 20 square roots of 3. The square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is the square root of 9. The square root of 9 is just 3. Anytime I multiply a square root by itself, I'm always just going to end up with the number in the middle. So this is 20 square roots of 3 over 3. What do I do to go from the short leg to the hypotenuse? I'm going to multiply by 2. So 20 square roots of 3 over 3 times 2. 20 times 2 is 40 square roots of 3 over 3. It looks very ugly, but it's still the answer. Okay, last example is very much like the, this is the last example I'm going to do. It's very much like the last example I just did. Okay, so again, I'm being given the long leg. Again, I want to find the short leg. So I'm going to divide by the square root of 3. So 9 square roots of 3 divided by the square root of 3. In this case, I don't have to rationalize the denominator because my square roots of 3's just cancel out, so I'm left with just 9. What do I do to go from the short leg to my hypotenuse? I'm going to multiply by 2, and 9 times 2 is 18. Okay, so this is just an example of the 30, 60, 90 triangle. In fact, this is often also referred to as a 1, 2, square root of 3, where 1 is across from your 30-degree angle, 2 is across from your 60-degree angle, or from your 90-degree angle, and 3 is across from your 60-degree angle. Okay, either way, 1, 2, because it's 1, 2, 3, so 1, 2, square root of 3, and 30, 60, 90. But 1, 2, 1, 2, square root of 3. 1, 2, square root of 3. 1, 2, square root of 3. Okay? Good luck.